Hello, everybody, and welcome into this week's 30 Minutes program. Great to have a couple of really, really important people in our community from the Northwest Correctional Complex in Tiptonville, Tennessee. We have the new warden. He's been on the job a little over 7-8 months, working as the warden in Tiptonville, Lake County. His name is Brandon Watwood, and he's an exemplary figure that people, I think, are very, very respectful of the great job he's doing in Tiptonville. And also we have today on us as a special man who is helping work getting out the good news of all of the things that are taking place, Bradley Canada. He's a public information officer, and we've got a lot of stuff to talk about here today. Warden, first off, why did you come to Tiptonville? Why did you want to be here and taking the position of the warden job in Lake County?
So in the past, it was deemed to be, I don't want to say a trouble, but a position that not many people wanted. So I took it as a challenge. I got to pick a team of executives to bring with me. We made it our mission to make the facility better. We are going to make it better. With the employees that are there and the employees that are going to be coming to work there.
Well, very good. I know you just completed a career fair, if you will, and I know that you're continuing to seek people to come to work with various positions. And Bradley, this may be a good time for you, but there's a lot of jobs available in correction.
Absolutely. At that rapid hiring event, we were hiring for correctional officer, correctional corporal, building maintenance worker, account clerk, teacher, recreation specialist 2, inmate jobs coordinator, medical records assistant, and property officer 2. I think that event really was great for the community because they were able to see the various positions that exist in a correctional facility.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and just ask you, how do you go about getting a job at Northwest Correctional Complex?
Well, you can always go online, tennessee.gov/correction, and apply for jobs. But what I would like to say, if you're interested in the Northwest Correctional Complex, you can always call the facility. You can follow the prompts for the Human Resources Division, and there will always be someone there to answer that phone 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday that'll assist you with that process.
Well, very good. While we're on that, let me just jump right back into it. So how old do you have to be, and how old can you not be to go to work there?
Well, the good thing is there is not an age that you cannot be to come and work there, but you must be 18 years of age to work there. So what I always like to say, it's a great career for anyone, but especially high school individuals that are graduating. It's a great gateway for them to enter into the workforce. You're coming out as a correctional officer making $45,000 a year.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty good for someone at a very young age.
Very well is. I actually myself came into the game at 19 years old with the Department of Correction. I've been with them for a decade. And when I started, I made $25,000 a year. So as you can tell, the salary for correctional officers has tremendously increased throughout the last 10 years.
Warden?
If I could say, the majority of people that I know did not think corrections would be a career for them. It was going to be a stepping stone to do something else. I myself thought the same thing. I didn't see myself making this a long-term 30-year career.
Well, you started as a correctional officer.
Correctional officer in 2002.
Mm-hmm. 22 years ago. Oh, no, 20. Yeah, that's right, 22 years ago.
Yes, sir. So through the security series, the case management series, now, like many of people, left state service a time or two, and I always found myself back. So it is a good career. It is what you make of it, and you can go as far as you want to go. There's no limitations. Are
you a coat and tie kind of guy? Are you the warden who walks around with a blazer on or a suit and tie, or do you have your work clothes on today?
To be honest, I'm thankful for this commissioner in particular. This is generally what I wear. I'm not a coat and tie guy. I don't like to wear coat and ties.
You look like the rest of them is what you're saying.
Yeah, we blend in.
Mm-hmm. So where did you get your first start in corrections?
I started in Nashville at the Lois M.D. Berry Special Needs Facility.
What place was it? What do they do there?
It's the state's mental health for highest level of care for those that are sick, maybe hospice, dialysis.
So prisoners get sick too.
Oh yeah, We have a very, very, very large aging population.
Wow.
We have a large aging population in Northwest. It's a good place for them to be because it's flat land.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's easier for them to get around, easy for them to do outdoor things, participate in the events, that go on at the facility.
So after you left that position, where did you go?
I left. This was the first time I left, and I came back. I went to probation and parole in Kentucky, and I ended up coming back in 2009. Worked at special needs for a year, then promoted and went to Charles Bass, which is no longer open. It's a facility that closed down in Nashville. After Charles Bass, I promoted to Counselor 3 and went to Riverbend Maximum Security Institution. Stayed there for about a year, and then I went to Central Office in Nashville, and I worked there for a little over 4 years before I went back to Riverbend as an associate warden.
Tell me, what did you ask to come here to Tiptonville, or was that they said we need you there?
I would say I was asked. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
It was a decision I made with my family. My family didn't come with me, so I saw it as a challenge, one that I wanted to take, and being here 7 months, I love it. I love what I do. The people that work at the facility are great. They're hardworking people. They're passionate, and that's the type of people we need. We need people with the mindset of teamwork. They're going to come in and assist. They want to be an asset to the facility. That's what I'm looking for, and I'll do everything I can to make sure that they're successful.
Just some easy numbers. How many inmates are there at the Lake County Tiptonville Northwest Correction Complex?
Approximately 1,700 between all three sites.
When you said 3 sites, what does that mean?
Well, you have Site 1, which is the main compound. Site 2 is in old style. We call them guilds. It's the original Lake County site. And then the third site would be the annex, NRU, the inmates that go outside the fence on the property or can go into the community and work and provide services to the community.
I know people talk about, and I'm going to come back to your career here for just in a couple of seconds, but there's always a day when they want to get home and do their time and go back into society. And I don't know how else to ask this question, but is there hope at the end of the light, when talking about a sentence and so forth?
Oh, yes, sir. More than 95% of the people incarcerated are coming home. And we make it our intention is to program them, provide them with things that's going to be useful when they get home so they don't reoffend and come back.
It's amazing. One of the things that a lot of people don't know is that when offenders come into TDOC custody, reentry starts on day 1 in intake. We are conducting assessments to identify their criminogenic needs. So we're looking at them individually to say, hey, what type of programs do we have that can assist you individually? And then we develop a treatment plan, which we call a risk needs assessment, that actually follows them through their entire incarceration period. And those are the types of programs that they take. It's an evidence-based approach, and that effort is to get them out in the community and ensure that they're successful.
If you just joined us, we're talking with the warden of the Northwest Correctional Complex. His name is Brandon Watwood, and sometimes your name gets a little bit kind of muddy, doesn't it? Watwood or Watwood? How would you?
It's Watwood. It's never pronounced correctly, so I'm used to it by now.
And we have Bradley Canada with us. He is a public information officer. Going back to you have a new commissioner for prisons, the Department of Corrections. Tell us about this gentleman who is overseeing the state of Tennessee's corrections.
Commissioner Strada came to us, I believe, from Arizona. From my interactions with him, he's very driven. He's pushing programs, pushing more programs, evidence-based stuff that's proven to work. He's very security-minded. He's focused on staff and safety and retention. Safety is number one priority for both staff and inmates. Anything he can do to assist, he's open. I feel like I could give him a call today if I had a question or concern, and he would address it.
So you got his number. There's no question. He's probably got your number as well.
Yes, sir.
When you heard that you were going to take Northwest. Did you come down and look at it first? Did you go over it, or did you just say, yes, sir, whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do it?
I had been to the facility a couple of times for some inspection reasons, so I kind of knew about it. The 4 years I spent in central office was in operations, prison operations, so I see the reports, I saw all the statistics and things like that, so nothing was a shock to me. It wasn't something I wasn't used to.
I don't know if I'm going to ask them the right question, but I think of 5-star, best you can be, 1-star, got a lot of work to do. Where is Northwest right now? Would you say they're at a 3-star or 4-star, or where are you?
I would say 4, and we are going to get to a 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, with the dedication of the staff that we currently have and the staff that we have coming on board, there's no doubt in my mind that we'll be the best facility in the state. I
don't think you would ever say, I'm going to do all of these things. It has to be internally. Would you not say that it has to be amongst staff to make it a 5-star?
That's correct. I mean, we cannot achieve our mission without the dedicated men and women who come to work, not just Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, but keep our facilities operational 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's even on holidays. Mr. Tinkle, when me and you are off for Christmas, correctional facilities are still in operation, Thanksgiving and so forth. I think as we continue to evolve and, of course, hire more great men and women, our efforts will be increased. There's power in numbers. Obviously, the challenges that we do face today, that doesn't make us a 5-star. In the short term, we have came up with processes to alleviate those things. But Northwest has a capacity of what? Warden, how many inmates do they have a capacity for?
I think it's about 2,300,
2,300.
That's a number I heard some years ago. But, the thing, you got to have enough people to do the job effectively. And you've told us that you're continuing to hire. We've had announcements on radios consistently. You're looking for that, not the guy that just wants to go down and work a while and leave. I've been told by Mark Watson many times, he says, we're looking for people that want to stay and go home at night or whatever that schedule happens to be.
Oh, that's absolutely correct. We want the ones that are dedicated to come into work. The state does a good job at providing numerous training opportunities that will prepare you for if you want to stay in your current role for 30 years, or if you want to advance. There's ample opportunities, times you can go to any training session that you want to, if time permits and your schedule permits. So the state's prepared to build you and give you the foundation and build you up to give you what you need to succeed and further your career.
I know enough about you that you have been all over the place, and I'm talking about the compound, but you also try to interact, as I understand, to interact with the inmates for the purpose of keeping them enthused to know that their day perhaps is coming sooner to come home as opposed to being there the rest of their life. And I also understand that as the warden's job, you have to talk to those people that don't have any home except the one that's going to be there until they pass away.
Oh, yes, sir. We're on the compounds every day talking to the inmates and staff, addressing any needs, concerns. There's different processes inmates can go through to voice their concerns, but if they bring it to you personally, we try to address them immediately if we can. We definitely take everything seriously, but no, we're every day between myself and the executive staff, we're at all 3 sites interacting with the inmates and the staff, just being the support. Like Mr. Canada said, it's not me. I can't run the facility by myself. Mm-hmm. If I don't have the frontline staff, the officers, correctional officers in the units, I'm not going to succeed, and I can't succeed without them.
If you've just joined us, we're talking with the Northwest Correctional Complex Warden, Brandon Watwood, and also the Public Information Officer for Northwest, Bradley Canada. Bradley, remember the first time you ever went inside a prison?
I do.
What was that like?
It was very exhausting. I had to take a deep breath.
Well, let me ask you first. You went in as a civilian, right? Is that a nice
one? No, I went in as a correctional officer.
Okay.
19 years old. And I'll say the reason why it was exhausting was because of the portray that the entertainment television gives prisons. So I went in, I was super big on high alert 100% the entire day. And anybody who's been at that high level of alert knows that after so long, an 8-hour shift of you doing that, when you get off, you are exhausted. Mm-hmm. But much like the warden had said a little earlier that he didn't really see a 20 or 30-year career out of it, I didn't either when I started. But what I found that following day was that there were policies and there are procedures that keep things decent and in order inside that facility. Mm-hmm. It's not this chaotic place that's unsafe. It's very safe. And what I found was you have this facility that is a representation of the community. So everything that exists inside the community exists inside of a correctional facility. And at that time, I had a different warden, of course, at the facility, but that warden was, of course, tasked with the same thing that your local officials are tasked with as far as keeping the inside of that facility safe, keeping everything running when there are issues, addressing those issues, and they always done that very quick.
Does Northwest kind of get overlooked across the state, or we could use one on the other side of the state of Tennessee in East Tennessee somewhere, but does this prison, is it high on the commissioner's list of being the very best?
Very. Excuse me. We actually had a town hall meeting with the commissioner last week, and he made it known to the staff that there's not a day that goes by that this facility doesn't cross his mind as far as what the needs may be, what they can do to ensure, maintain safety and security, and the operational function is as smooth as it can be.
And I'll tell you a unique thing about that town hall he mentioned is with that town hall, all staff that work at the facility were invited. And Commissioner Strada, who is headquartered out of Nashville, brought his entire team of top elected officials, and everyone provided an update to the staff on what was going on in their division, as well as opened the floor for any staff member to ask any question, voice any concern, and have that open communication with the frontline staff. Mm-hmm. For me, that was tremendous. So I think that to Commissioner Strada's investment in getting in there with the team, figuring out what the issues are, what's not working, what's working well, and really focused on developing things that are going to ensure that we continue to maintain the same level of excellence that we're able to.
What's some of the problems that you deal with day to day, Warden?
Staffing sometimes is an issue, but we deal with it. We go on. We do what we have to do.
And it's not because it's not a great place to work. It's because you don't get enough apps. People don't want to, do they not want to work anymore? I mean, that's.
I think that's something COVID had something to do with it, and I think Mr. Canada spoke earlier about the perception of what prison is. I don't think people have the right perception. It's not chaotic, like you said. It's like running a small city. We have our own medical services, food services, recreational services, laundry. The things that you have to make a city go is basically what we're dealing with. So, if you have a problem with trash pickup at home, you pick up the phone. If I have a problem, it's a little bit bigger because I have more trash. I have stuff to get in and get out. If all the dryers and laundry machines broke today, what am I going to do to make sure that the services continue? So, but I think perception from people who haven't been in a facility plays a big role in it.
I think there are a lot of misconceptions about being a prison guard or team. What do you call it?
Officer,
correctional officer. Excuse me. And I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about what the position is. You're not walking around all the moment and knocking on these jail cells and that kind of thing. That's not what you do.
No, they're there to like I said, provide security. Say you're assigned to a pod. You're just there to walk around, mingle.
What's a pod? What's a pod?
I'm sorry, the living quarters for the offenders.
How many live in a pod?
Depending on which building you're in, most pods are 128 on the main compound. You have 128 on each side. So the officer goes in, make sure they're getting showers, just walks around, interacts with the offenders, makes,
I even forgot about that. I mean, prisoners have to take showers too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you don't think about that, but they have a daily routine. Am I right?
Well, and having a routine is the best thing to have. We do have a daily schedule that starts at 5 o'clock count in the morning. From the time that count ends throughout the day, it's the same. Consistency is the best thing to have in prison because that's what the offenders are used to. That's what they like. They don't like if you automatically change or if you.
They don't want to change the schedule.
No, they want to be. They want to know at as soon as count clears, we're going to chow.
That's because they have something to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Okay.
That's right.
So, but you were talking about it. I didn't even think about it, when I take showers. We haven't even talked about, and of course, we're talking mostly about male offenders, but there are women that commit crimes too, and they go to prison.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us about that.
That's something I know little about. We do have 2 female facilities, one in Nashville and one in West Tennessee, in Henning. I've never worked around female offenders.
So to be clear, no women are there other than women who serve in various positions there. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So at any of our facilities that do house the female population, they will be separate from the men. But none of our facilities are co-ed. Mm-hmm. And the challenges when you're dealing with that population from a management standpoint, their needs are different. But what I will say is the same things that go on as far as the policies, the processes, and what's required to keep that facility operational takes place at both places.
Mm-hmm. If you've just tuned in, Brandon Watwood is our guest. He is the warden at Northwest Correctional Complex in Tiptonville, and Bradley, Canada, public information officer. I wonder about Sunday. Tell us about, how about Saturday? How about Thursday? Is it all the same Monday through Sunday, or are there changes on?
So Monday through Friday is a general same schedule. Saturday, Sunday, they're afforded the opportunity to visit, so family can come, schedule a visit. At either site, as long as they're not on restriction or anything, they'll visit in the visiting gallery. They can visit, for whatever time they've scheduled. Volunteer services, that's basically 7 days a week if we can get the volunteers to come in. And
I didn't know you had volunteers.
We don't have enough. I wish we had more.
What do those people do, Bradley?
What they do is they work through the chaplain, and they actually have to put in an application to be a volunteer with the Tennessee Department of Correction. But we have various nonprofit organizations that either come in and do programs for the offender population, church services for the offender population. And, they're super important in our work in our department because I talked about the great programming that we do. I talked about the idea of when they are released, them going out and being successful. But the reality is that when they get out to the community, that's the super important piece. And going out into the community, what you find with these nonprofit organizations is they'll provide wraparound services and be able to assist them when they get there.
What is Sunday like, Warden? Do you have a lot of ministers or lay people that come in and do church ministry?
It's not just Sunday. It's 7 days a week. They coordinate that through the chaplain, what times they're are available. We've had a dip, I guess, since COVID in volunteer numbers. We would like to get those back up. The volunteers help. It gives the offender something to look forward to on a Monday, Tuesday, or whatever night they're scheduled to go. They get that interaction. They get that guidance. And just like anything else, whatever religious preference they have, we have the obligation to meet that need.
I've never asked this question. I've never even thought about it. But about how many men in that facility would you say, I'm not holding you to this, are they Christian? Are they Muslim? Are they no religion? Do you have any kind of statistic on any of that?
So the statistic doesn't exist. We could get the numbers on that from our chaplain if someone was interested, but I can tell you that every religion that exists out in the public exists inside that correctional facility.
Hadn't thought about that. What kind of crimes do people committed to get into the prison?
You can go from DUI to murder. It's when they come in, they're all treated the same. I always tell new officers, don't it doesn't matter what they did to get here. We treat them all equal. The motto in corrections is firm, fair, consistent. That's what you have to be. So they're
Say that again so they can hear it one more time.
to be firm, fair, and consistent with each offender. Their punishment is prison. We're not there to punish them. Now, of course, they got rules they have to follow while they're in there, and that we have established guidelines and policies that we have to follow to provide punishment while they're incarcerated, but their punishment is incarceration.
I don't want this to slip past us, but I think it's a very important question. How often do you have an inmate that gets their degree from a university? I mean, this has just recently taken place, as I understand. Can you tell me about that?
We have over 200 offenders within the last calendar year who have completed either a vocational program, which we have partnerships with Tennessee College of Applied Technology, an associate's degree program, bachelor's degree program, and master's degree programs. What we try to do is provide all of these opportunities while they're inside the correctional facility to make them successful. And of course, what we find is if we equip them with these tools when they go out in the community, they're better equipped to be successful. So, I mean, that within itself just speaks numbers. You wouldn't typically think that people inside a correctional facility would probably be as focused on their future. But what we find is when we present that opportunity, they're taking advantage of it.
Warden, we're going to wrap it here pretty quick, but I know there's a couple of things that you would like people on the other side, whether it be the family members or those people who are interested in coming to Northwest about a position, or maybe it's something that they just want to come over and see if they can maybe bring somebody to Jesus. I don't know, but tell me a little bit about that.
So, well, to family members, whether they believe it or not, we take their phone calls and their concerns and their issues. You know, everybody's got a loved one outside that worries, that doesn't know what's happening. They only know what they're being told or what they're here. So we take those current concerns seriously. We check on every one of them. To those who are thinking about coming to work, I encourage you to come out, give it a try. Let us show you what it's like to work in a correctional facility, and take those misconceived perceptions you have from TV and show you that it's not really that way. There are no 2 days that are going to be the same in a facility.
I may be wrong, and I'm going to just shoot this from the hip. I think the most lonely day of a prisoner is when they find out that their mama passed away, can't go to the funeral, didn't get a chance to tell her goodbye. And maybe the best day is knowing that cell is never going to be there for them again, walking away and getting outside the barbed wires.
Could be. That very, very well could be.
That is correct. And what a lot of people don't think about is even when they're inside the correctional facility, obviously we have our logistics as far as security. So there's just some things that we can't do, but we show compassion to individuals during those circumstances. We've got the chaplain available. We didn't really get into the shift commander, but when we have those types of situations, as if you had mentioned someone had passed away, everyone's on high alert providing support to that person.
Warden, I'll give you the last words here on our program today on 30 Minutes.
I just thank you for the opportunity to allow us to come out and explain what happens at our facility. We hope to get more applicants, more people to come work. We're a dedicated team. We're going to get the job done. We're mission driven, policy driven, and just thank you for allowing us to come be here today.
Bradley, last word on what someone can do if they want to become a team member at Northwest Correctional Complex.
You can always call the facility or visit us on tn.gov/corrections for employment opportunities. Offer great benefits, and hey, if you're a high school student out there that is looking to go to school, we even will pay for you a class a semester at a state public institution.
Hope you've enjoyed our program, everybody. We've been talking with the warden at Northwest Correctional Complex, Brandon Watwood, and Bradley Canada, Public Information Officer for Northwest. Hope this has been helpful to you folks, as it has to many of our listeners who listen each and every week for this program. It's 30 Minutes on Thunderbolt Radio. Paul Tinkle, pre-recorded.